Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, what's going on, man? Nice to see you in person again.
Nice to see you as well.
Instead of, virtually via the Zoom platform.
Yeah. Every once in a while we got to do that. And thank God for modern technology that we can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no doubt.
It does make things, a little easier when you need them to be.
Absolutely.
How are you doing?
I am well.
Looking good?
Well, thank you.
Looking strong?
Thank you.
You're looking all kind of things.
Okay, it's about to get weird
I know.
now.
I'll just stop right there. Yeah. This is a different time of day for us.
Yeah, sometimes we have to adjust.
That's right.
But, folks that are listening and watching, they don't know what time of day it is.
It's all good. That's right.
At least not while we're recording anyways.
Correct.
Yeah.
Looks the same.
Right.
Down here in your home recording studio, which is an awesome place, by the way. For those of you who've not been here.
I just realized, though, I didn't load up a pipe. I don't have a pipe. I don't know. I'm going to be lost.
You are, yeah. It's gonna be a different.
I'll be all right.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Give yourself a break for now.
If you notice later in the video that I'm smoking a pipe, you'll know that we paused it and I wasn't all right.
That's right. Speaking of your folks, I know you didn't speak of them, but
right.
I was thinking about them recently.
All right.
Partially because of the topic today, but I wanted to say hi to Em and Larry. Hope you guys are well, and I can't wait to see you again whenever our paths cross.
Nice.
In the same physical location.
Very cool. Yeah. So why are they going to come up in conversation later today?
Because your mother.
Yeah.
Your mother picked the topic for us today.
She did.
And I'm excited about it.
It was a good suggestion.
It was. Absolutely. And there's a lesson for everybody out there. We like getting topic suggestions. So if you have any more, please send them our way and we will consider them.
Absolutely.
But this was a good one because I spent a lot of time thinking about, how do you handle this in the best possible way?
Yeah.
What is this, by the way?
So we could, I don't know if we've landed on the actual final title yet, but it's something to the effect of, it's about networking. So Networking 101, Networking for Dummies, those are kind of the working titles at this point. So, obviously by the time this thing's published, the title, we will have decided what the title is going to be, and you'll see that. But yeah, it's all about how do you handle yourself in a group environment where whether it may be specifically a function for networking, and it may be just a social gathering. And I think that you can approach both of those in the same kind of way, because oftentimes people are uncomfortable because it's a situation where there's a bunch of people there that they may not know.
Right.
And you'll find, people will kind of stand off to themselves and so on. And I think that's what prompted my mother's suggestion of this topic is kind of I don't know if it was a meet and greet or what, but they're involved with a nonprofit, Habitat for Humanity, and they've done many builds with those folks over the years. And I think they had some type of a function, and it was a situation where you've got certain people that will work the room and get out and engage other people in conversation and so on, and then you have others that'll just kind of sit off in the periphery and keep to themselves. And I'm just not sure that's I guess it depends on what the purpose of the event is, on whether or not that's productive.
Right.
If it's a networking event, then sitting off in the periphery, keeping to yourself, is absolutely not the way you should conduct yourself.
You bet. And There are people who are just hate these situations.
Right.
Where, and I know several of them, and I won't name them, but they, you have these events where people are all gathered together and they want nothing to do with it. They're just, oh man, I got to get through this. All right, I'll pretend. I'll play the game for 30 minutes or whatever while we get through this. But they don't like it, and life is presenting us with these circumstances all the time.
Yep.
It's worth talking about. It really is. I have enjoyed thinking about it over the past couple of days.
Yep.
And yeah, little tips and tricks to make it, especially for those who hate these environments where you're walking into a crowd. There's all kind of people there that you don't know. Maybe everybody you don't know. Might be one or two that you do. How do you handle that? How do you get through that?
I think for me, one of the things that's worked, and I've shared with other people along the way, is you got to approach it with a mindset of curiosity. So, when you're thinking about being off in the periphery by yourself, well, and you're not really going to add anything new to that conversation that you're having with yourself. So approach it with a mindset of curiosity and go in it with the intent to learn about other people while you're there with them. Because especially if it's a networking event where that's your intent. And I forget who said this, but I love this saying, right? Networking is one letter away from not working. And that's what ends up happening to a lot of people when they go to an event like this is they don't do shit.
Okay.
They just, go sit off to the side and drink or eat or whatever and not actually engage and fulfill the function that they went there to do. The whole idea is to meet people, especially if it's a business type networking event or, a social networking event where meeting new contacts are going to help further whatever cause you're participating in, whether it's business, charitable, whatever. So you gotta get stuff done. And I came up with the first thing is that curiosity mindset, right? I think mindset's everything in anything that we do.
Yeah.
The mindset that you go into it with is going to dictate your successful outcome or not. And so I think that's the biggest thing is that mindset of curiosity. And then beyond that, I'll stop with that, and I can talk about this other plan or process that I have developed.
Okay. I agree with you completely that going in with some sort of mindset that's going to cause you to behave in a certain way that's different than standing off to the side and being by yourself is a great approach. And the way I summed that up in my own mind was just plan what you're going to do before you get there. Think through it, or as you would say, proceed with intention.
Right.
And if you're telling yourself in your head, "Oh, I'm here we go again. I got to go back, into this situation where there's a bunch of people out there. I'm going to be miserable. I don't know anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody." If you're going in with that mindset,
you're setting yourself up for failure.
It's going to be a miserable time. And so if you go into that with some intention, with some purpose, with some predetermined thought. Here's a phrase that I like.
Awesome.
Predetermined thought predicts present action. It's a fact.
Yep.
So you literally visualize yourself moving into the crowd, and so I think that's the way for me, a good way to approach it. And then there's some techniques once you get in there because you're walking in, but you got to start talking to somebody. Like you said, I can be very curious. I can be like, why did that guy wear that shirt? That's ugly as hell. Oh my God, I'm not going to probably tell him that.
Right, but you could ask him, or
in some sort of fun way.
Do you have people in your life that love you? Because clearly they don't love you enough to tell you that shirt was not a good choice.
That was not a good choice, right? Right.
Yeah.
Even that can backfire. One time I met a guy at my work, and he was wearing a pink shirt, and I go, "Woo, that thing's as bright as can be. Nobody's gonna miss you today." And I was just kidding.
Right.
And he never wore the shirt again. It really hit him, and it really hurt him. The comment hurt him, and I was like, "Wow, didn't mean to do that." He didn't tell me that till like a year and a half later.
And he was wearing it for Breast Cancer Awareness Month or something like that.
Might have been.
Right.
Might have been.
That's just wrong, man.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry I took us off because it was a fun little story there.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I want to hear your method.
So I came up with this several years ago, and as we know, I spent some time in law enforcement, did some work on tactical teams, part of a SWAT team. So, and I'm a jarhead, right? And jarheads like acronyms.
Right.
I think in general people like acronyms because they're easy to remember.
Mental handle.
Yeah, and that you can just keep that, and you can remember the rest that goes with it. Just kind of simplifies things for you. So I came up with I didn't come up with the acronym SWAT, SWAT. What I did was take that acronym and use it with different wording than what it was historically.
It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to this.
Right. So these are the steps and the secrets to a successful networking engagement.
Steps and secrets.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing you have to do is the S.
Right.
You got to show up.
Okay.
You got to go.
Yep.
And not just show up physically, you also have to show up mentally.
Okay.
And that goes to that mindset that we talked about, and the intention that you're talking about. Yeah, you gotta be there physically and mentally engaged in the process and why you're there. Right. So that's the first part. That's the S. W. You got to walk up and engage people, because you can't sit out on the periphery and have anything happen.
Right.
So you gotta show up. You got to walk up and engage or introduce yourself to people.
Yep.
And the A is ask them who they are and what they do.
Okay.
Right. And that's important, right? So I said introduce yourself. I didn't say, spend 15 minutes talking about yourself. I said introduce yourself and then ask them who they are and what they do. Because everyone's favorite subject is themselves.
You bet.
So, and you didn't go there. I think this is one of the mistakes that people make when they're dealing with networking is they'll go with a pocket full of business cards and think that their intent is to hand out a bunch of business cards.
Right.
Well, if you go there and you hand out 50 business cards and you don't get any back, what are the chances that you're going to have further contact with those people? It's all a game of chance.
Right.
It really is, because it's up to them whether or not they call you or engage you further. So you got to flip the way you think about that. I don't care if you go to a networking event and don't hand out the first business card. What matters is how many you leave with.
Or right.
Or how many contacts you leave with.
How much was
so
there a
that
real
you can
connection?
follow up.
Yeah.
So that's ask people who they are and what they do. Get them talking about themselves. And then the last part, the T, is tell them what you do only if they ask.
Okay. That's good.
Because you're shifting it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're there to learn. You know about you, so you don't need to tell that story unless they want to hear it. Learn about them and make that connection.
Yeah. That's good. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to use it. That actually really is a very
You can't steal it.
Okay.
Because I'm giving it to you freely.
All right. I'm gonna take it and use it. Yeah. Show up, walk in, ask questions.
Yep. Introduce yourself.
Right.
And ask them who they are, what they do.
Right. I like it. I do. I'll use it, and it really does give you a structure and a framework to think about it. And I had written some other ideas that I want to share with respect to your show up and walk in and introduce yourself. And that was, how do you do that? There's a lot of ways that you can present.
Right.
What is your energy? What's the expression on your face? What are you wearing? All of these things matter, honestly, because people are checking you out, and after about 7 seconds, they've already made their first impression if you've not met these people before.
Right.
And if you come in with good energy, and you come in with a smile, and you come in with a firm handshake, and if you come in with that kind of presence, instantly you are asking them to, not verbally, to know that you're there and that you're there to engage with them. Yeah. And that's very cool. So that actually makes a difference. If you walk in all sheepish and your shoulders are in and you're just kind of, nobody wants to talk to you. Right. But if you go in with confidence, and another technique, another really good technique is to get the conversation started. As you're walking up to a person, you're just looking at that person, and you might notice their shoes or their pants, or maybe they have a logo on their shirt that you like and you want to comment on.
Right.
Or there's something about them that you can actually point out. I really like your shirt, or I really like your shoes, or oh my goodness, where'd you buy that belt. I don't know, whatever it is.
No, that's great.
That kind of stuff instantly allows them to start talking about themselves.
Right.
Because they wanted to, I wore this shirt for a reason. I like this shirt. That's why I wear it. Now I'm going to tell you about it because you just asked me about it. That's the way and all of a sudden you're off and running.
Yep.
You're starting to get to know them, and you're right. I like the listen more than you speak thing.
Yeah. You came there knowing all you need to know about yourself.
Right.
For that particular time. And focus on learning more about the people that are there. That's the whole intent. Create more connections, network with more people, increase the size of your network.
Correct. The folks who are very introverted and that just really don't like this, they just don't like being in these situations. I guess what I would say to those people is, look, you get to choose. We all get to choose what we're going to do with our time. You are there. You're spending time at this event either because you have to, because it's a work-related or a family thing or something where you got to be there, or you want to be there because there's people there that you want to meet.
Right.
But either way, you're giving your time. Why waste it? So if you don't want to waste your time and be the person off to the side in the corner avoiding everybody, you're just giving up moments of your life that you're never going to get back.
Right.
Why not
make them productive?
Yeah. Why not just choose to say, I'm going to, as much as I don't like this because I'm introverted and I don't like being around people and I want to be in my home and I want to, no. Take the time to invest in yourself.
Right.
Go get to know some folks.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I like that acronym, because it creates expectations, steps that you need to follow while you're there. And so, let's say you are one of those people that like to sit off to the side. Well, you'll catch yourself and you're like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to show up. All right, I'm here.
Right.
I'm here physically, but am I here mentally? Am I present? Maybe. No, I'm not. All right, so I need to shift that. And then I need to walk up and introduce myself to people and ask them who they are, what they do, and then tell them about myself, only if they ask. And so there's steps, right? And so you're holding yourself accountable to do those things. You know what they are. You know the steps you need to engage in, and if you have a conscience and that internal accountability thing driving you, then not doing that should cause you some internal turmoil, and hopefully it's enough to get you off your ass to go and do it.
To not waste your time.
Right.
I'm going to go all the way back to something you said early on, and that was being curious and asking questions about what's going on. And that's another really great technique. If you do find yourself where like, how do I get through this? Start asking yourself questions like this. Who is the most interesting person in this crowd? And then you go, okay, it's that person. Well, what would I want to know about them? Okay, well, I'd want to know this about them. There's your next target.
Right.
And you make your way.
Just don't get weird about it.
Yeah.
Unless, it depends on the environment that you're in, right?
Never get weird, never get creepy. I'm not talking about that. I'm just trying to get you off a top dead center to go do something, to go talk to people. That whole predetermined thought. And if you really do close your eyes before you get there and you think through, okay, I'm going to walk into this crowd, I'm going to meet these people, I'm not going to waste my time, I'm moving forward with intention, I'm moving forward with SWAT, and I'm going to go for it. You will do it. You will show up. Next thing you know, man, you're talking to all kind of people.
Right.
And you're learning all kind of stuff.
And you're leaving with contacts.
Yeah.
And people, especially when it's a business-related networking function where that's the whole purpose of being there, to establish more contacts and put more people into your sales funnel. It's important that you leave with more contacts than you arrived with.
Yeah.
And people that you can market to and put in that funnel.
Bryant knows this whole idea of sales, and it's part of his life. It's part of all of our life, honestly, but he's got a particular set of skills in this regard, so you got to listen to him on this one. There you go. Not that you don't listen to him.
Just this one, though.
He knows what he's talking about. That's what I'm saying. So you're right. Walk away. I actually have never thought about that either, like walk away with more contacts than you give.
Right.
Because you're right. It's not about what you give. You could just stand there and hand out your business cards.
Yeah.
And I know what happens to me. If somebody hands me a business card, I mean, again, I had 7 seconds to size them up, and if I don't like it, that sucker's ending up in the round file.
Right. Yeah.
never to be seen from or heard from again, in my view. So.
Yep. And you got something that you can act on, right?
Yeah.
So you're not sitting around waiting for those 50 people that you gave business cards to call you. Now you have something you can do in a follow-up to engage those people.
Indeed. I have one more important piece of information to share on this.
All right.
And it actually, it was because of an experience that I observed over a period of years with a friend who, the first time I met him, had a reputation. And his reputation was, everybody who ever talked about this guy said he is high quality. This is a good person that you will want to be friendly with over time, and that will add value to your life, and that you will appreciate having as a friend. And I thought, okay, that's pretty high praise for somebody.
Yeah.
And then I met him finally at some event, and there was nothing particularly impressive about him. I didn't walk away with, oh my God, I'm gonna call him up as soon as I get home and set up the next meeting. It was nothing like that. It was just kind of and then like 3 days later, I get a note that was on my desk. That was a handwritten note from him that said, "Hey, Kevin, enjoyed meeting you. Look forward to this," some other sort of little thing.
Right.
And it was like, huh. Wow, he remembered that, 30-second conversation that we had, and it struck him enough to not just remember it, but to take the time to write a little note and put it down. And then I was like, that's really unusual.
Yeah.
That is different.
Yeah.
And so my point in this is the follow-up. You meet somebody at these crowds, you run into all kind of people, but a couple of them are going to make an impression on you. And if you follow up with those people in some sort of meaningful way like that,
Right.
all of a sudden it gets locked in. And by the way, he did that time after time after time after time, and he still does it to this day.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And so there you go.
Tremendous value in that,
Yeah,
no doubt.
yeah, isn't that?
And now we came full circle back to the whole handwritten note and the importance thereof.
Yes, we did.
It matters.
It really does.
And again, it might be a demographic thing, right? So we appreciate it.
You bet.
But we're old fuckers.
That's right.
Not as old as some on the planet, but quite a bit older than many. But yeah,
Right.
There's value in it, no doubt.
Right. There you go. That's what I came up with, and I like what you came up with.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I think it's a whole way of, it's a mindset shift, and it's a different way of thinking about it. And we talk a lot about, or I talked a lot about this in the business setting.
Yeah.
Same thing can apply to just a social interaction.
You bet.
The time goes by much quicker when you're engaged in conversation.
Right.
Rather than just sitting off in the corner by yourself.
Right.
If you're miserable being there, then you can make yourself less miserable by engaging with other people and having conversation.
Yes.
And I'm going to flip back to the business thing real quick, because I want to put this out there about, think about what you're doing as from a tactical standpoint, right? So, I got to do this step, and be careful of your hands, right? So one of the things you do in this environment is you shake hands, right?
Right.
So when you're walking around with 2 hands full of stuff, you got a drink in one hand and food in the other. Well, you're not really opening yourself up to be approached either.
Yeah.
And you're not setting yourself up to approach others because you've got your hands full, right? So, if you have a drink, that's fine, but make sure your handshaking hand, your right hand, is free, and you can walk up and offer your hand to shake somebody's hand and introduce yourself.
You bet. Yeah. That's a good thought.
It's one of those body language things.
It
right?
absolutely is. And now that you've said it, I'm sure some people kind of do that as a
barrier,
as a wall.
Yeah, exactly.
To protect themselves from having to engage in that kind of thing. So, interesting. Yeah. So for me, it's 3 easy steps. How do you work a crowd? How do you walk into a crowd and do it? Step number 1 is be there in your mind before you're there physically. Think through it. So that's it. Predetermined thought. I'm going into this crowd. This is how I'm going to behave. This is what I'm going to do. These are the things I'm going to say. Here's how I'm going to engage. This is how I'm going to listen. So that's step 1. Step 2 is when you're there, execute. Do it. You got to do it. Just like you said, that's the walk in and engage. And then step 3 is follow up afterwards. For those that are really important to you, follow up. And don't follow up if you follow up in kind of an unusual way, handwritten note or something special like that, I promise you, you will never be forgotten. I remember it to this day, the very first time it happened to me. I was like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
He's different. There's something different about him. And it's very cool.
Nice. Yeah, and I would just close and with a reminder that you need to turn it into a tactical operation, right? So use that SWAT
Well done.
acronym.
Woo.
And go there with intention. Show up, walk up, introduce yourself to others, ask them who they are, what they do, and tell them what you do only if they ask you. Because it's more important to learn about them, because then you have somebody to follow up with later. And it makes them feel important.
That's good.
Because again, everybody's favorite subject is themselves.
Right. You tied all that together nicely with your little
Bow, good to go.
Bow. Ended up with the treat it as a tactical operation.
That's right.
I like it.
Step-by-step guide.
You bet.
Networking for dummies.
Yes, indeed.
Or networking 101. I don't know. Which one is it? Yep, sure is.
Right. It is. Yes.
You'll know because you read this topic before you started listening or watching.
That's right.
You'll know which one we landed on.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom, for the topic.
Thanks, ma'am.
And I don't know if she got offended because she never replied back, when she suggested. I think she sent it to us on a group text, right?
Right.
And when she suggested it, I said, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. We could do something on like networking for dummies. And she never replied back. So I don't know if she thought if I was like insulting her by saying, that was, but certainly I was not. I mean it that way because, there's all kinds of educational stuff out there, books with that title, XYZ for dummies and so on and so forth.
You bet. I bet you love it.
So, Mom, I was not calling you a dummy in case you thought that.
I'm sure she probably didn't think that. That's what
You never know.
Okay.
You never know what people are thinking.
You're right. Can't assume anything.
Right.
All right.
Well, thank you for the conversation, man. It's good stuff.
You're welcome.
Let's go out and network.
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm doing it tonight. First Friday.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
First Friday in town. I'll be networking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be doing it. SWAT. This is a tactical mission, man.
There you go.
I'm
Dress accordingly.
I will. Absolutely. I'm coming in with energy and a smile and a firm handshake.
Yeah. Just be careful. Don't be overly assertive, you know. You gotta kind of temper that a little bit. Right? Because you have to be careful, right?
Come on, don't knock me down.
No. You have to be careful because, the first 3 letters of assertive are
okay.
You know what I mean? So
all right.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that.
All right.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right. I'm gonna reach over here and hit this button.
Very good.
And say something like this. No matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, make sure between this podcast and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride. Get out there and do some networking.
Do it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.